Welcome once again to Global Reports on Liberty Television here from our Kaduna studios. I am Arthur Brooks. We are broadcasting throughout Nigeria on Star Times Network, on Channel 180. Also from the 3rd of October, Monday, we'll be on GoTV Channel 1110. And you can watch on Multi-TV in Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, Gabon, Benin and Niger republics across West Africa. And you can also see us in Jos on Free TV. And of course, you can watch us streaming live on the World Wide Web at www.libertytvradio.com. Welcome to the studio. Today we look at some of the reports that are featured in the world's news over the last 7 days. I have in the studio Mallam Abdullahi Abubakar, who is a lecturer. Welcome to the studio, sir.
Thank you very much, Ato.
Today, first of all, you will watch the International Global Newspaper Review. Tuesday's the Canadian daily newspaper, the Vancouver Sun, carries a picture of Donald Trump and Hilary Clinton, US presidential candidates, after their first debate, which 100 million viewers around the world watched on Monday evening. China Daily, the Chinese newspaper, carries a picture of Chinese Premier meeting with former Cuban leader Fidel Castro in Havana on Monday. Tuesday's Washington Post in the USA carries a report on the debate with Hilary Clinton and Donald Trump. The front page also carries a report on the death of Shimon Peres, the former Israeli president, who fought hard to bring Palestinians and Israelis together, which culminated in the 1993 Oslo Peace Accord, and he also won the Nobel Peace Prize shared with Palestinian leader Yasser Arafat and the Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin. The New York Times of the USA on Tuesday carries a picture of Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton during their first presidential candidate debate on Monday night, with the headline, "Candidates Press Pointed Attacks and Acerbic Debate," and also stated, "Trump raps Clinton on trade and emails. She counters on her fitness." The Cape Times on Wednesday carries a similar story with pictures. Finally, here is a series of US newspaper cartoons depicting the Trump-Clinton debate. Well, our first item today is going to be the Clinton-Trump debate. That's the United States of America, where the two very controversial aspirants to the president's office, that's Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, for the first time had a debate in New York. I can't remember where it was. Anyway, and that debate was quite controversial. Let's watch this short TV report.
Now, in all fairness to Secretary Clinton, yes, is that okay? Good. I want you to be very happy. It's very important to me.
I have a feeling that by the end of this evening, I'm going to be blamed for everything that's ever happened.
Why not?
Why not? Yeah, why not? You know, just join the debate by saying more crazy things. Now, let me say,
there's nothing crazy about not letting our companies bring their money back into their country.
This is Secretary Clinton's 2 minutes, please.
Yeah, let's start the clock again, Lester.
will release my tax returns against my lawyer's wishes when she releases her 33,000 emails that have been deleted. As soon as she releases them, I will release my tax returns, and that's against my lawyers. They say don't do it.
I think Donald just criticized me for preparing for this debate. And yes, I did. And you know what else I prepared for? I prepared to be president. And I think that's a good thing.
I think that I've developed very, very good relationships over the last little while with the African American community. I think you can see that. And I feel that they really wanted me to come to that conclusion, and I think I did a great job and a great service, not only for the country, but even for the president.
If terrorists ever get their hands on any nuclear material. So a man who can be provoked by a tweet should not have his fingers anywhere near the nuclear codes, as far as I think anyone with any sense about this should be concerned.
That line's getting a little bit old, I must say. Listen,
It's a good one,
I
though.
would like.
Well, there you have it, and you have to agree that it's more fun than most presidential debates we've seen so far. And I guess it's more fun than most presidential debates we have in Nigeria as well. What do you think, Abubakar?
It appears more fun and entertaining. The outcome of the debate shows that Mr. Trump doesn't have much idea of foreign relations. He's not even prepared to govern a great country like America, going by his speeches and policies that are coming out of him over time. So, and that is why if you watch the debate properly, the views of enlightened and educated Americans go to the direction that Mr. Trump is not the right candidate for American leadership.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of people, including myself, believe that. But the way things are going, there is still a possibility that he could become the whatever number, 40th, 50th president of the United States. Personally, I think it would be a terrible disaster. And I think Hilary Clinton is much more suited with her long experience and close to the seat of power to be a better president, and of course the first woman president.
Actually, politics is a very dicey game. It's a game of sentiment, and Mr. Trump have studied the sentiment of average American, and he was trying to exploit it. And he was telling them what they want to hear. But in reality, by the time he get to the leadership, those his views may not likely work.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, unfortunately, we this is an ongoing, I don't know, a reality show or what would we call this? And I think the next debate between the pair of them is going to be on the 9th of October, followed by another one on the 19th of October. I think by that time, the American people should know who's likely to become the new leader following Barack Obama's departure in January, I think it is, when they do the inaugural. Okay, let's move on. The second item is almost a breaking news. Yesterday, or was it in the early hours of this morning, I'm not sure, the OPEC, which is the Organization of Oil Exporting States, I've almost forgotten what it stands for, has decided to cut oil production. This is the first time in 8 years, and it took so long because Saudi Arabia and Iran, who are largely at loggerheads with each other, failed to agree until yesterday. This means that with the drop in the oil production, the price of oil will go up. And already I understand, the price of oil has risen by 6%, up to $49, and many experts are hoping and suggesting that it may raise higher. One doubts if it will get to the pre-oil glut period when we had oil at $200 a barrel, but let's hope it will increase, because it will certainly do something for the economies of countries like our own here in Nigeria. Watch this short video report from Al Jazeera.
For the first time in 8 years, hundreds of thousands of barrels of oil could stop flowing from pipelines like these. The Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, or OPEC, has decided to limit the amount of oil it produces. It's meant to stabilize falling oil prices. Leaders from the 14-member bloc, which controls the bulk of the world's oil exports, made the decision at an informal summit in Algeria.
We came up with a way forward that is to consider targeting 32.5 to 33 million barrel per day target.
Countries which rely on oil income have struggled because oil prices have dropped from $110 a barrel in 2014 to less than $30 a barrel this year. Many have welcomed OPEC's decision to cut production by nearly 750,000 barrels a day.
Today, OPEC has taken a historic decision. OPEC will go back to its role of monitoring the market. It's a role that it lost many years ago, but is now reclaiming.
But details of the announcement remain unclear, including crucial specifics on which countries will reduce oil production, how long will that last, and how will OPEC enforce its decision. An OPEC meeting in November will finalize the details, but ironing out differences won't be easy. Analysts say oil price wars have been influenced by competition between traditional oil producers and US shale producers, and regional tensions between Saudi Arabia and Iran have also contributed. But Saudi Arabia and Gulf countries insist no political decisions were taken and oil production is based on demand and supply. The fall in oil prices has led cash-strapped countries to lay off workers and halt development programs. Economies from Venezuela to Nigeria have faced dwindling foreign reserves, reduced production and imports. An expected rise in oil prices could help them reverse that trend. Osama bin Javed, Al Jazeera.
There we have it. OPEC have finally come to an agreement, and there's a cutback in oil of some 700,000 barrels a day, which will be continued and maybe increased depending on market pressures. Abubakar, what do you think about this development?
Well, the development, the agreement reached may work for a while, for a short term, but it may not be sustainable for a long time, except if the regional competitors, the Iran and Saudi Arabia, and also the non-OPEC members, oil producers, until one day reach a consensus, a valid agreement. That agreement, whatever they reach now, may only be temporary, just for a while. There's a lot of rivalry between Iran and Saudi Arabia for regional control, and the non-OPEC members may not likely oblige to whatever agreement that might have been reached, and OPEC doesn't have control over them. The monopoly that OPEC was having in the past, has been neutralized with the discovery of large quantity of oil, in the shale oil in the US, Russia, Denmark, and Canada, and so many other countries that are non-OPEC members. And they may not be binding. The decision taken by OPEC may not be binding on them. So they may continue to pump as much oil as possible. And moreover, many of them need ready cash. So the more oil they produce, the more money they get, and that may staple the decision that was taken today by OPEC members to cut off production. It's like denying yourself and giving opportunities to others to produce more and pump into the market.
Yeah, but the problem is the more oil that's pumped, the more the price is going to be depleted or dropped. I suppose one of the key things is the cost of oil production. I understand Saudi Arabia, for instance, can produce fairly cheaply as compared with, say, the shale oil, which is quite an expensive oil to extract.
Yeah, the shale and North Sea oil is very, very expensive to extract, and by the time the price goes down, it will not be competitive for those countries to continue production. But like I said, until when the rivalry between Iran and Saudi Arabia and the OPEC members find a way of co-opting and dialoguing with non-OPEC members, whatever decision they may take now may not work for a long period of time.
Yeah, but in the long period of time, already many countries have got the technologies that reduce the amount of oil being used. We already see the electric cars being developed. Even our lights, like in our studio here, are no longer the expensive lights which used to consume a lot of power. So everybody's reducing their power, their oil needs. So this problem is not going to go away while countries are depending on oil for their income. So this is why even we in Nigeria, we have to learn to use other sources, not only of power, but other sources of revenue, like the need for agriculture to be finally improved to pre-oil levels.
Yes, that is what experts in economics are saying, that the drop in oil price, Nigeria should not panic, that Nigerians should not get worried. It's a normal economic cycle, and it is going to be to the advantage of Nigeria, so that because with this, it will be an opportunity for Nigeria to look inward, look the other way, and diversify the economy. Look for other sources of revenue. There are a lot of potentials in the country that are yet undeveloped. So government should divert attention, de-emphasize on the issue of oil. So like you said, oil is no reliable source of income. So countries like Nigeria and other oil producing states, because more innovations, more technology are coming up to replace oil, making it very irrelevant.
But when going back to agriculture, we do a lot of talking about agriculture.
Yes.
But we need to do a lot more walking as well as talking. We've got to really practically get agriculture to be redefined as a principal income earner. And it's not just the governments. You can't leave everything to the government. All of us here have to learn to make use of agriculture. And the industries have to think seriously about agriculture. Of course, the problem with lots of people in business and in industry, they want fast turnarounds. And things like agriculture take time. I was just discussing the other day with somebody who in Kaduna here has a factory that makes furniture, and they've had to import plywood from Ghana because Nigeria no longer produces plywood. Nigeria, which had the largest wood factory down in the south, ATMP, is closed. They no longer produces. Anyway, I think we are running out of time, as we are also possibly running out of oil. I don't know.
It's true. Well, the issue of agriculture is just a question of restructuring the economic apparatus, the economic system. You see the emphasizing on import. Nigeria, for example, is purely a consumer-based economy.
Yeah.
The country is not into production. So it's a form of reversing, policies. Encourage local production, encourage local consumption of local products, de-emphasize on import and whatever the country have capacity to produce locally. producers should be encouraged and given support where necessary.
We have to get there.
Yeah.
We have to get there,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, that's enough for today. Please, thank you, Mallam Abubakar Abdullahi.
Thank you, Mr.
You
Atom.
can also join us on our Facebook page at Liberty Global Reports on Facebook, where you can see videos of our previous programs and you can interact with us on there. You can also post messages and read what other people think. So for more global reports, join us here once again in the our Kaduna studios. This is Arthur Brooks signing off. Thanks again to my guest, and everybody have a great weekend. Good night.
Okay.